I don't know if you've seen this guy, but he was recently on Piers Morgan and other shows, and basically all he says is tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. And his solution to poverty is basically taxing the rich. But I have some bad news for him because I'm going to disprove his thesis with a economic law, which is not actually just an economic law, it's a metaphysical law called the Pareto distribution. The Pareto distribution argues that there are a tiny minority of individuals that will have majority of the wealth. It's called the 80-20 law, but it's not just about wealth. It could be about anything. There's a tiny minority of footballers that score majority of the goals. There are a tiny minority of artists that have most of the hit songs. There is a tiny minority of men that sleep with majority of women. So it's a metaphysical law. There's a tiny minority of trees that grow the biggest and largest in the Amazon. It's called the Pareto distribution, meaning that the tiny minority, the 1%, almost owns the 99%. And in an economy, unfortunately, that's what also happens. There's also another law called the Iron Law. And the Iron Law argues that actually in a group of 10 people, 3 people do majority of the work. In a group of 100 people, 10 people do majority of the work. And in a group of 10,000 people, only 100 people do majority of the work or bring in majority of the revenue. Okay? So these two laws disprove taxing the rich. Okay, because I used to be like him. I used to be a socialist when I came out of uni, saying, yeah, tax the rich. But then soon after I came out of university, I realized that the more you tax the rich, the more they are going to leave. Taxing the rich doesn't work. Because if you tax the rich, they'll all leave to Dubai, or they'll all go to Miami, or wherever else. So it just doesn't work. And when they leave your country, they will take the wealth and the jobs with them. So it's a losing strategy. The better way to deal with income inequality is to be able to redistribute wealth in other means, such as, for example, if you start working for Amazon, you get given shares. If it's a public company, I would make a law saying, well, if you're a public company, you have to give your employees shares. And the employees would then have more of an incentive to work harder towards the objectives of that company, because the higher the shares go, the more money they'll make. So the guys, Gary Stevenson, I would love to have a debate with him. I've seen some of his videos. I'll tag him to this video, and if you guys can, also tag him as well, because I would like to have a debate with him, because I used to think like him as well. But then soon after, as I got more mature, I realized taxing the rich doesn't actually work, and it actually alienates people from investing in your economy.